Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Weird Wednesday from BaloneyBrain.com. Let me just forewarn you, perhaps a disturbing edition of Weird Wednesday. Joining, I am, of course, Used Toy or John House, and joining me is Daryl House or Suburban Hobo. How you doing, Daryl?
I'm doing good. I'm going to just throw this out there. Why don't we change the name from Weird Wednesday to Wacko Wednesday?
That's probably not a bad idea.
You know what? We keep reaching new lows week after week here. Let me start you with this story. I got this one about an hour ago off the internet. A man dressed in a Barbie costume allegedly attempted to sexually assault a woman in a Big Lots bathroom in Sandy.
Have you ever been in a bathroom at Big Lots? It's terrible.
I've seldom been in Big Lots, and I think if I had to go to that, I would hold it. Literally.
Well, one time I had to drop off a Big Lot at Big Lots.
Well, I mean, this woman at Big Lots, she was going into a stall in the bathroom when a man climbed under the stall door and latched onto her. The woman fought back, was able to run out of the bathroom and call for help. The man was approached by security, but he brandished a weapon that looked like a screwdriver. You know, they say if it looks like a screwdriver and it smells like a screwdriver and it screws like a screwdriver, it's a screwdriver. So he was reportedly wearing a Barbie costume that he stole from the store and no shoes. You know, he needed those pumps, I suppose. But he ran from the store. A week later, I don't know why it took a week to do this, cops arrested 40-year-old suspect Gregory Schwartz, who was taken into custody for the assault. So you know what they say.
When I can see your Schwartz is as big as mine.
May the Schwartz be with you. I know. Was that like one of those Frankenstein, Igor?
It was Mel Brooks.
Sounds like Mel Brooks. Yeah. Funny.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and get the disturbing one over with.
You told me about this.
Teen explains why he had sex with a Hot Pocket. Just to get more famous on the internet and to get Twitter followers. I find this story so disturbing. And the fact that he goes ahead and explains, you know, how to go through the flaky crusted footsteps. Apparently he said the first time he tried it was way too hot. So he had to put it in a fridge again and use a condom.
I read the story. I was going to say there's a condom side of this whole thing.
Yeah,
also.
yeah.
At least he's had safe sex with a Hot Pocket. I passed on this story. We talked about it.
I'm just glad he didn't put it back in the refrigerator and forget about it.
Hey, Mom. Hot Pocket's a little salty.
Hot Pocket. Hot Pocket.
Oh, jeez. You know what? I'm telling you this, Wacko Wednesday, we ought to consider this. How about this? Actually, this is a bit of a feel-good story. Massachusetts man busted for speeding. Had a pretty good excuse when he was pulled over. He just won a big lottery prize, and he was on his way to collect the cash. Turns out Thursday was 22-year-old Scott Lowe's lucky day in more ways than one. The officer who pulled him over in Hingham, Massachusetts, I know very well because when I lived on Cape Cod and I was working in Boston on the Cape, there's a chain of restaurants called the 99. Everybody ended up in New England's going to know the 99's up there. And I would stop at the 99 about halfway and have a couple of pops, get ready for the press on into Boston. But anyway, this guy was pulled over in Hingham. He issued a verbal warning and urged him to drive safely. Lowe of Rockland, Mass, told the officer he was speeding because he just won $50,000 on a scratch-off ticket.
Very nice.
Yeah, he was on his way to Braintree, to the Massachusetts State Lottery headquarters, to collect his winnings. WCVB-TV reports that police say Lowe was shaking and showed the officer his winning ticket. After the warning, he went on his way and claimed his prize. I like it.
That is a good feel-good story.
I remember one day I got pulled over for speeding, and the cop says, "I've been waiting for you all day." And I said, "Well, I got here as quick as I could."
Well, that goes for my feel-good story. I've got one that's kind of crappy. Naples, Italy, to test DNA of dog poop. If they find out it's your dog, you're going to be charged about $700. You have to register your pooch, and your pooch has to get a little swab. But if they find a sample of your poop, around because I guess people haven't been cleaning up after their pups.
It's a poop-epidemic.
If it belongs to your dog, you're going to have to pay up.
I saw that a couple of days ago.
And so I'm thinking all the people on like the news that were like, oh, I'm going to become a CSI. They're going, really?
I'm a good neighbor. I pick up after my dog every time, and sometimes I'm out there at 6 o'clock in the morning, right at the crack of dawn, and I'm fooling with the doggy doo, and I'm going, I've had this dog since she was 8 weeks old. I bet I have picked up more than a ton of dog poop in my life. I go,
yeah, you'd think she'd know how to use the toilet by now.
Well, I just saw a video of a dog that jumped up on the toilet, did his business, went down, and flushed the toilet. This was a video I saw on Facebook or YouTube or somewhere a couple of days ago. Of course, not my dog. Hey, how about this story? I know you had to have seen this in the news because I've seen it a couple of days in a row. But worker at a Mississippi funeral home, workers say they found a man alive and kicking when they opened a body bag. Did you see this the other day?
I did not.
Oh, man, Holmes County Coroner Dexter Howard calls it a miracle that 78-year-old Walter Williams is alive. The coroner was called to Williams' home in Lexington, a community north of Jackson, Mississippi, where family members believed he had died. Howard says Williams had no pulse. He was pronounced dead Wednesday at 9 p.m. Early Thursday, workers at Porter & Sons Funeral Home were preparing to embalm Williams when he started to kick in the body bag. Family members were called. Williams was taken to the hospital. Howard says he believes that Williams' pacemaker stopped working, then restarted. Family members say Williams, a farmer, told them he's happy to be alive.
I'm not dead yet.
Not yet. Well, that's they used to put a bell on caskets because they were burying people that were not ready to be buried. So they put a bell on a casket, and somebody spent the night the first night in a graveyard to listen for the bell.
Well, I've got the my only Florida story for the day, just so we have one.
Pick on Florida.
A Florida man wasn't happy with the way that the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office treated him, and so between May and December, between May 1st and December 5th, he called them 2,927 times.
Well, it's a long, long way from May to December.
Keith Lucas, 43, pled guilty on Tuesday to calling the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office non-emergency line. He would call them, use vulgar language, and gripe about how the sheriff's department had treated him. I can't really imagine him being treated poorly by the sheriff's department after 2,900 calls.
You suppose they knew his phone number and knew where he lived? That's crazy.
He did get sentenced to probation for I can't even remember what he was sentenced for, but
if it was in Mississippi, they may have found him in a body bag. Still kicking. Hey, listen, folks, it's another episode of Weird Wednesday here at BaloneyBrain.com. We are always pleased to welcome you in for a little bit of our madness. So thanks for joining us today. You, Stoy, always a pleasure.
We'll see you next time here at Wacko Wednesday.
Oh, I like that. It's got a nice ring to it.